Good morning, everybody. Enter the stars. And this is a special live broadcast because a few of you have asked me to basically create some kind of a primer video, an introductory video to help anyone who comes across this video, family and friends, or anyone you'd like to share this video with, to understand exactly what's going on here. And it's a great point that a couple of you have brought up, and it's something that needs to be done. Now, for those of you that have been on this channel for a very long time, you understand what is going on here. But it takes it was a whole body of work, and a lot of this we were learning all together. And so therefore, we're going to kind of start from the beginning. This may be a pretty long video, but what it's going to do, what it's going to accomplish, is it's going to set the groundwork for how all of this work came about and how we got to the point that we're at now. This is going to be a freestyle type episode, and this is going to be clear, it's going to be concise, and it's going to be simple for anyone to understand. The first thing that I want to say to you guys is, as you know, all of this points back to one person. Now, for those who are that you're going to share this with, like atheists and people that do not believe in God, I'm going to leave that statement at that for now, because later we will basically, in effect, prove the existence of this single person. And that is where all of the body of work has brought us to. But I'm not going to say that yet, because you may share this video with someone who does not believe in a creator. And this is a tough thing for a lot of people to swallow, because there is so much pain and suffering in this world. And typically what I see with people who do not believe in a creator is that they've been through a lot of pain in their life. Now, I'm not trying to patronize these people, or that's what this is not about. That this is a statement of love. Okay. So this is what's happened. Okay. Abuse, molestation, all of these things have happened, and they wonder, how could a God allow this to happen? And that is the number one tool of the devil to make you deny God, is to have something like this happen to you, and then the anger flow through you. Now, as I get into this, I don't even know where to start. Maybe I'll start with how all this started, with my own pain and suffering. And many of you have seen my testimonial videos about what I've gone through in my life, which isn't nearly as bad as some of the horrors that many of you have experienced and are experiencing as we speak. Pain, suffering, abuse, damage. But my own personal story was one of lots of pain from my perspective. And each of our pain perspectives are different from person to person. And so my personal pain perspective put me on a path, put me on a journey to find out why there is so much pain and suffering. And I was not, and I'll repeat, I was not finding the answers that I was looking for in my lifelong journey of the church. The church did not provide the answers. In fact, they seemed to complicate my life. They seemed to complicate my life. It wasn't until I looked within to find the answers. Now, let's continue on here, and I'm glad many of you were able to show up. Again, we're going to talk about some of the basics of the matrix, and that is what this episode is going to be about. This is going to be hopefully a video you guys can share with family and friends that helps explain some of the basics of the things that we've uncovered. Now, all of this goes back to an original event, a point at which the entire humanity entered into another dimension. Now, the humanity had just started. They had just started in the garden. And through an act of sorcery, we all entered into sin. Now, this can be proven because the Bible was written, of course, maybe tens of thousands of years ago, but most likely 2,000 to 6,000 years ago. Many of these scriptures were written down. And the takeaway from this is that there are so many detailed synchronicities in the Bible, stories told, dozens and dozens, hundreds of stories told that overlay perfectly the inner anatomy of our body, the map within our body. And if I had to point someone that you showed Enter the Stars channel to any one playlist on this channel, it would be the one about the map of the human body. Because that one proves that our inner body overlays history of the Bible, the actual anatomy. Now, how does that even happen? Well, God tells us that he knew the beginning from the end. He is the Alpha and the Omega. So he already knew the story of history of man. That's why he's God. And then he simply, upon creation, created us in his image, which is the history of man. And that is the most fascinating thing. So for me to go into all the details of that probably would take hours and hours of exactly what I'm talking about, but I'll give you a couple of points. The human heart, when you count the valves and chambers, it exactly overlays Christ. And you'll have to watch the video for that. The brain, your human brain, exactly also overlays the anatomy of Christ in the crossing of the optic nerves, as well as the two eyes being the two thieves in the skull of Golgotha, where Christ was crucified, with thieves at his side. The optic nerves cross. Now, these are just some tidbits I'm throwing out to grab the attention of anyone you share this video with, because this evidence is undeniable, and it's nothing that people have ever learned in church or religion. This is why religion has failed. In this society, we're quick to label each other and disregard each other through these labels. And so what happens is, this is how we remain in ignorance and silos of lack of free thought. So very quickly, you have to let people know that you don't fit into those labels, those sorcery labels that they're trying to apply to you. Because once you accept those labels and you wear them, like a conspiracy theorist, for instance, or a truther, that is part of the sorcery, to get people to disregard anything you have to say. So hopefully I'm portraying that here this morning, that I do not accept any of the labels that have been put upon me. Excuse me. So therefore, at this point of the conversation, anyone you share this with should not be disregarding what I'm saying, because I'm speaking specifically through facts. Now, this goes on because we also see, when we drill down into the actual inner eye of our heads, we see more analogies of the history of man. And this is crazy, because the story of the flood is inside of the inner eye, with the ark being the back of the lens of the inside of your eye. Noah's Ark going through the flood, 40 days and 40 nights. The flood is your vitreous humor inside your eye. Him going through the narrow gate, the remnant of people, 8 people on the ark, going through the hyaloid canal, which is a thin strip that connects the lens from the inside of your eye back to through the vitreous humor into the optic nerve of the back of your eye. It's a perfect analogy. Why? Because when you're born, that hyaloid canal, it atrophies and tries to disappear, but a remnant is left, just like the remnant of 8 people on the ark, the remnant of mankind, the small piece left over. And this is the narrow gate. Now, all of these terms I'm using are in the Bible: remnant, narrow gate. How can this be? How can this be? You ask that our own anatomy of our eye contains the history of man and the Bible. Well, God made it that way to prove the Bible and prove who he is. Now, at this point, you may be saying, oh, those are just coincidences. No, because the remnant also passed through the Red Sea when Moses parted the Red Sea with his staff. The staff, again, representing the hyaloid canal, the staff parting through the Red Sea, which is the vitreous humor inside your eye. Again, a remnant passing through in the wilderness for 40 years. The same image of your inner eye, led by the ark, just like Noah's ark. The ark, the back of the lens, the convex lens of the eye. This is undeniable evidence, you guys. And people, if they're denying this, it gets to the point where you're denying the obvious. Now, here's the bombshell. And for those of you that have been on this channel, we've covered this before. But all of you know what Russian dolls are. They're dolls that fit within one another in layers, like an onion. You can open one and there's another one inside. You open that one, there's another one inside. Well, God gave us a perfect analogy of these Russian dolls. How? Childbirth, the womb, is a perfect analogy of the inside of your eye. How so? A woman has a cervix at the bottom of the birth canal that opens and closes to allow the child to be born. That's just like the iris of your eye that opens and closes and allows light into your inner eye. There's also the image that comes in through the front of your eye. It comes in and it's upside down, just like the child is born upside down. We also have the vitreous humor inside the eye, which is like the amniotic fluid inside the womb. We have the retina, which provides blood flow, which is just like the umbilical cord of the child, which actually the placenta surrounding the child, I'm sorry. We also have the umbilical cord, which is just like the hyaloid canal, providing nutrients to the child who is now born into the world inside the lens. And that is the world that we live in. And once you're born, you're severed. You're severed. Just like the hyaloid canal is severed and disappears, the umbilical cord comes away. We're born into sin, exactly how the Bible tells us it is. God built it this way so that we would someday find the truth, hiding in plain sight. So, how long is a child in the womb? 40 weeks. Just like the 40 days and 40 nights of the flood, and just like the 40 years of the Israelites, the remnant. So you see, this is undeniable stuff. Now, I've covered all this before, but you guys have asked me to kind of put it into a perspective so people can understand. Now, all of this, we call this the matrix. Okay, this is what we call this. Why? Because the matrix symbolizes a prison. We're born into this prison through sin. We're locked in sin, which curiously sounds like the word sine. What is sine? Sine is the sine wave, which is like the serpent. It goes up and down like a bell curve. And that represents the sine wave describes time, the sinking sands of time, the kingdom built on sinking sand of time, like an hourglass. So this is crazy because this is the truth. Now, why did God allow a person like me, who is a sinner just like all of you, I'm nothing better than all of you, to know this information? Because he's looking for humility. He's looking for people who have given up on this world, which is Christ says we're no part of this world, and to stop wandering after the beast. This is the only time he begins to impart this kind of knowledge to you, because he knows that once you figure it out, you will tell the world, no matter what persecution you fall under. And that's where I'm at in my life. I'm attacked daily for standing up for this by my peers, by everyone, because they simply cannot believe what I'm telling them. But it is the truth hiding in plain sight. Now, this goes into far, far, far more detail. Okay, I'm just giving you the Cliff Notes version that just demonstrated to you 3 different instances and stories in the Bible and childbirth encapsulated inside of your eye, the story of your eye. Now, what is the matrix? The matrix is the firmament above that we are trapped behind. Okay, God built the firmament, but we are trapped behind it because we entered this new dimension of sin. It's a realm, it's a dimension of time. We're locked in time, locked in the sine wave. We cannot escape except for one way. There's only one way to the Father, that is through the Son. So if we follow the anatomy that I just laid out for you, that the inner brain and eyes represent our universe, world, and history of man, and the pathway back to God, then we can actually begin to understand that once we go through the back of the eye toward the brain and the optic nerves cross, that's where Jesus is. In the footstools of God on our earth, in the realms of good and evil, which are both of our eyes, are the optic nerves sitting on the tops of the back of our eyes. I'm hoping you guys are visualizing this. It's all kind of hard to demonstrate, but I'm trying to go slow so you can visualize this. And if any of you are into anatomy of the inner brain and eyes, it might be helpful at this point to pull up a model of the optic nerves. You could put in visual pathway. You can Google any of this stuff and pull up images, and it will show you exactly what I'm talking about. Those are the footstools of God. And you also see around the actual eyes, the muscles that turn your eyes in their sockets. There are 4 of them, and these are the 4 corners of the earth. And Revelation describes an angel coming from the east, and that is the one that rotates your eye. It's a 5th muscle group inside of your eye socket. These are the foundation of the earth, the angels at the 4 corners. All of it is a perfect analogy built right into the anatomy of our body. Now, from these truths that we found, we understand that as the visual pathway comes through the front of your eye, goes through the valley of the shadow of death that we call this life, through the vitreous humor and into the optic nerve, traveling through the cross, we understand that vision is processed at the back of the brain. There's only one way to the Father, and that is through the Son. So it's following the exact pathway of sight and vision. And someone mentioned the pineal, so I saw non-carrier. Yes, Christ is the antenna. The antenna, no, I'm sorry. The pineal gland is the antenna of Christ. It has no power within itself. It is simply an antenna. So you cannot get there by yourself by cleansing your pineal or enlightening, trying to escape this plane. Okay, so I just want to be clear about that. Now, under where vision is processed at the back of the brain, underneath, there is a place called the cerebellum. And inside the cerebellum, there's called the arbor vitae. This is simple anatomy. The arbor vitae is Latin for tree of life. And when you take the entire brain and you flip it all the way over, upside down, and you look at the bottom of it, you see the cerebellum and the arbor vitae sitting in the throne of the brain. And that is the analogy of where God is, looking over us. But in our reality, everything is flipped upside down, you see. Now, I've covered this on all my videos, but again, I'm trying to do Cliff Notes version for you guys to share with family and friends and people that you think may be a little skeptical about the information we present here. So this goes on because where the optic nerves in your brain cross is called the chiastic crossing. This is the anatomical term given to where your optic nerves cross near the pineal gland, which is where Jesus was crucified, in the middle of your brain. And the chiastic is also, it's called the optic chiasm, so I can be more specific. It also describes a literary format called the chiasmic literary format. What this is, it's a method of storytelling where you, in the notes, Cliff Notes version of it, you basically tell the story, and in the middle of the story, you repeat yourself, and then you start backtracking step by step, like you're backing out of a room. So you walk into a room, 10 steps, you stop, then you walk backwards 10 steps out. And that is the best description I can give to the chiastic literary format. Now, why am I talking about this in reference to the chiastic, the optic chiasm? Because in the description of the literary format, they actually describe it as ABBA. ABBA. That's the simplest way to describe it. You could also describe it ABCCBA or ABCDDCBA, but the simplest way to describe it is ABBA. So what did Jesus call his father when he asked him to take this cup? He called him Abba. That was near the cross. Are you starting to understand how all this fits together? Now, not only did Jesus say, Abba, take this cup from me, which, by the way, in Greek spells the exact same thing. So it's not like, because people might ask, well, how is that? That's in English. How does that work? It doesn't fit in. No. In Greek, the original Greek that was spoken, and English, Abba is the same word. So therefore, he said, Abba, take this cup from me. What was he talking about? Well, from the backs of your eyes to the crossing of the optic nerves, it forms a cup. After it crosses over, it forms a cup the other direction upside down. That was the cup that Jesus was talking about. That's why Jesus, when he died on the cross, said, it is finished. He hands the cup over to the Father. He hands the cup over to the Father. Now, how do we get to the Father? There's only one way. Look upon Christ. Now, we have all this disinformation out there. Religion teaches you, if you're not in our religion, you're not going to be saved. Because I grew up a Jehovah's Witness, so I know this. Catholics say this. Seventh-day Adventists say that. Because they all want you to be in their club. Because really, it's all about money. Now, then they you know, the point of the matter is the real truth, the truth that I'm telling you right now that proves Christ, because there's only one story that talks about someone dying on a cross that predates all other stories. There's only one that relates back to the anatomy of your creation. So it's undeniable. Who are you going to believe? You're going to believe a God that has all these other symbols that don't even relate to the human body? Are you going to believe the God that actually describes himself in our creation of how we were made? You're going to believe that God, but that knowledge has been kept from you. It's been kept from you because they knew, if you knew this knowledge, you would know, without beyond a shadow of a doubt, who your creator was and his son. You would know. For Pete's sake, you guys, AD, the millennium we live in, is named after Christ. How is it that we forgot? Anno Domini, after death, BC, before Christ. How is it that we can doubt the existence of Christ when our entire calendar system is based off of him? How? So hopefully this provides the proof. Now I'm just scratching the surface, but I wanted to hit you guys with the most important information. And hopefully from this point forward, whoever you share this with will continue to listen and understand that this reality is ruled by good and evil, the two eyes in the skull, the two thieves near Jesus on the cross, the tree of the knowledge of good and evil, spoken about in Genesis. When Eve partook of this or went into this realm, bit of the apple, which is a torus field, going into another dimension. I believe this was some kind of like CERN-like event, because CERN is a giant torus field that they're trying to recreate. They're trying to bite of another apple to enter another realm to get back into the kingdom, but there's no way back into the kingdom. Trying to make war on heaven. The only way is through Christ. So this is what happened. We went into another realm of good and evil. What does good and evil mean? What does that mean? Let's go into, let's do some screen sharing here, so I can show you guys the spiritual realm. Now, this is where it's going to get pretty esoteric. But at this point, maybe you're starting to understand what's going on here. So here's the plus and minus signs. This is the very first things we learned when we were in school. Plus and minus. It sounds so simple, doesn't it? Plus is the cross, and this is what stands in the way of the cross. Now, this is math. For every reaction, there's an opposite and equal reaction. This translates even to the spiritual realm. In works, this also translates into our reality. So when you do something bad, there will be a good counter effect somewhere to balance out so that we don't slip into chaos, but you will get bad effects from doing bad things. So this goes on because in the spiritual realm, things manifest. Now, when God said we are all born into sin, or maybe Jesus said this, we're all born into sin. This is real. There are two pivotal moments in your life: birth and death. Birth and death. Now I'm going to give you some bizarre, striking synchronicities that prove that our birthdays, the moment of that we are born into this world, then has significance the rest of our life. It can also synchronize with different people in our life that has meaning. It can also synchronize with the day we die, the day we will die. Now, only God knows these things, but the pattern is revealed in hindsight, which is 2020. Isn't it interesting that hindsight is 2020, and 20 plus 20 is 40, which is the 40 that we talked about in the inner eye, the weeks of gestation for a child, the 40 days and 40 nights of the wilderness for Jesus, as well as the 40 years of the Israelites and the 40 days and 40 nights of the flood. Quick recap. So 2020 vision is 40, right? Perfect vision. Actually, there's better vision out there, but 2020 is the standard perfect vision. So this goes on. Let me go back in the chat and see if you guys have any suggestions of things you want me to talk about. But that's a pretty quick recap. Let's see here. All right. So this goes on because I'm going to demonstrate to you how this birthday synchronicity thing works. Now, we are 69 years since the Dead Sea Scrolls were discovered in the Qumran caves. Qumran caves, Dead Sea Scrolls. I hope the takeaway people get from this is that you can do your own research to find the truth. You can check everything I'm saying. Okay. I don't make anything up. I don't try to force things that aren't there. It is what they are. Here's the Dead Sea Scrolls discovery. This was a complete, well, nearly complete copy of the Bible that went all the way back in ancient times. They were in the Qumran caves. And the Qumran caves contained the Bible, but they also contained the Apocrypha. Here's all the Qumran caves. These are the scrolls of the Bible. Now, why was this important? Because the current version of the Bible, people have doubts about, because we only had a version that went back several hundred years, not thousands of years. So everyone's like, well, how do we know this is real? We don't have any proof. We don't have any ancient scrolls to check this against. And in fact, these were the ancient scrolls that they were able to check the Bible against. And they found it to be accurate. The problem was, you're asking, what's the problem? The problem is that they also found other books that were not included within our current canon of Bible, which has 66 books right now. There are actually additional Bible books that they did not bother to update in our current Bible. One of those books is the Book of Enoch. Blown away right now, aren't you? They found an ancient copies of the Bible with extra books in it, and they didn't bother to update them. 1947. We are 69 years since 1947. So you're asking me, why am I talking about this? Because we have, now I always talk about things in terms of this, the focal point of the United States, from the perspective of the United States, because we are at the center, and that's probably why I was born here. There are no accidents in this reality. For every action, there's an opposite and equal reaction. You will pay for everything you do. There is no escape. And so I'm going to actually show you something. This is going to blow you away. We're in a leap year. I told you it's been 69 years since this discovery. This is Donald Trump. Why am I looking up Donald Trump? Because Donald Trump, this is him here. Remember, 69 years since Roswell, New Mexico, UFO discovery, as well as the discovery of the Qumran caves. Donald Trump is 69 years old, 69 years since. He was born on June 14th. June 14th. Now, what I'm doing right now is demonstrating to you the nature of the matrix. How you can see past this reality. This is June 14th. We're in a leap year. It's 166th day of the year. With 299 remaining, we know that there are only 365 days in the year, even in leap years. So we take one away from this 200 number, 166, 199. There's your 69. Coincidence? He's 69 years old? I don't think so, because watch this. Here's the other candidate for the presidency. This is Hillary Clinton. What is her campaign slogan? I am. What did Jesus say? I am. I am the great. I am. And her campaign slogan is I am, or I'm Hillary. Let's look at the images of that. Now I'm demonstrating to you how you can actually research for yourself as well. These are some research methods that I use in decoding the matrix. And we'll get to why we even have to decode the matrix in a minute. This is Hillary's campaign slogan. Looks like it's changed a bit. I'm with her. It was I'm Hillary. And why am I bringing that up? Because I am in Greek is I, like your eye in your head. There it is, with the E rotated. Do you think Jesus was trying to tell us something about the I? Of course he was, but it goes deeper. Now, this is the rabbit hole we're in right now of the matrix of truth. Once you find this, I go into great detail in uncovering these things only because the more I can uncover, the more people understand. But it's not expected of you to continue in the rabbit holes and stay there. You're supposed to understand the prison you live in and then help others to understand it. And you move on. Okay. Hillary Clinton. Now, the goal on my channel is to continue to help people prove the matrix. And one thing I tell people, if you watch one of my videos, you're going to think I'm crazy. If you watch two of them, you're going to say coincidence. 3, you're going to scratch your head. 4, you're going to go, wow. And after 5 or 6 videos, you're going to be apologizing for ever doubting this information because it is real. The patterns are there. Let's look at Hillary Clinton, who, if she becomes president, she was born in the same year of the Qumran cave discovery, disclosure of UFOs, and she will be 69 years old if she assumes the presidency. She's 68 now. Election is after her birthday. She will be 69 years old, and her birthday is October 26th. And what is October 26th? October 26th is the 299th day with 66 remaining. And when she's president, it will no longer be a leap year, so this will apply. There's your 69 again. Now, when I uploaded this video, I did a video on this. This is called a mirror synchronicity. So in other words, it's like you're standing inside a hall of mirrors and everything points back to one truth. Through the mirrors, you form a complete circuit of truth, which is what we just demonstrated to you. The 69 of the two presidential candidates for the United States, which means that neither of them is the answer. I just proved that to you through their 69 synchronicity, okay? But this goes deeper because a lot of things happened this year that related to the 69s. David Bowie died at 69 years old. As you can see here. Be back in the chat in a minute, you guys. This is where we get into the laws of good and evil. You see, this is what happens. Many of us are born and die and have very little influence on this world, okay? We have very little influence on this world. And so what happens is we may influence our spouse. Some of us drive our spouses to suicide. Some of us affect our children, and the karma that we dish out can kill us, because remember, we're in a universe where there are opposite and equal reactions, and good has to prevail if you do evil, which will mean that you can in fact have suffering and pain and die from your own actions, okay, in this realm. Even though you think people are getting away with stuff, they're really not. This is Alan Rickman. He died at 69 this year. So where am I going with this? What happens is these people have a profound effect on the as they reach so many people. This is a trick of the devil. He gives you a platform to reach many, many people. This is why the devil seeks people with talent, people who get it, people who can affect others with their talent. And what happens is these people um they they end up as either sacrifices of Satan and Lucifer who rules Hollywood, or they end up as not being able to dig out of their own karma. Okay. And then what happens is they end up just dying. Now, we are not to judge others for what they do because we don't know the personal conversation they're having with God and their personal path and their personal journey. But the thing is that this just they can't dig out of their own karma, nor does the devil allow them to. Because the minute they do wake up, they want to tell everybody. All of a sudden, all of their acting gigs dry up. All of a sudden, their record deals go away. All of a sudden, Satan influences people to come into your life to throw you off track. That is what's going on. The artist formerly known as Prince, I believe, was a puppet of the New World Order who maybe tried at the last minute to escape. He died on April 21st, same day as the Queen. The Prince died the same day as the Queen's birthday. The Queen and the Prince. April 21st is the 111th day of the year. 9/11 has 111 days remaining until the end of the year. These are what we call mirror birthdays. So you find the opposite. September 11th having 111 days remaining in the year, and April 21st being the 111th day of the year. They're mirrors of one another. The Queen of England's mirror birthday is 9/11, always has been. One day before her was born Hitler on 4/20. I'm trying to demonstrate to you that as we manifest into this world of sin, born into sin, there is only one escape. The moment we're born, we're locked in this matrix of mathematics, of good and evil. And our lives are like, it's almost like a brand or a stamp. And then we play out our lives and we will die, which is what God told Eve, you will surely die, because we can't figure out the mathematical equation. We can't figure it out because we don't have the capability to, because we're born into a system of deception. The system of deception does not allow us to ever find the truth. And even if we did find it, we can't undo the math equation because we've already sealed our fate. That's why there's only one way out, as I demonstrated to you through the inner anatomy of your own body. Now, I want to repeat again, there's a playlist, and it's called, let's pull it up here, the map of the, I think it's called the map of the history of man or something like that. Let's pull it up here, playlists. Now, what I want people to know, where is it at? The map. Oh, here it is. Flat Earth is not so flat. Blown Away, Star Wars. Where's my map of the human body playlist? No, I have one. Oh, here it is. The kingdom of heaven is literally within you. This outlines everything that I just talked about. Shows you proof of God, apple of the eye, what it means when the Bible says that scales fell from Saul's eyes. That too is in your inner anatomy. The eye in the womb, the speck and the beam in your eye. the brain, as I just showed you, that actually shows the, when you flip the brain upside down, it becomes the throne of God with the arbor vitae in the middle, the tree of life. In this video here, we actually show you cross sections of the inner anatomy of the brain that represent the lamb, the slain lamb, the candlesticks mentioned in Revelation. It's all here, you guys. And I'm shocked because not a lot of people are watching these videos. I don't know if they don't believe it or what. Talk about how Eve could see. She could see what she bit of the fruit because the lens cap was taken off of her eyes. She was no longer looking within to see the kingdom of heaven. She was looking into the material realm, which deceives us. Those are the thieves that take your salvation because you're looking out. You're deceived. We go through the whole inner anatomy mapping of the entire thing. We map the heart, the brain, and the eyes. Now, I'm going to put a link of this in the description. Let's see here. We got to play all, I think. And then we go here, pause this. And then this will be something that you can show your friends and family who come here. And they can begin to understand the truth about our reality. Now, you're asking yourself, why haven't religion shown us this? Why? Because religion is run by the enemy, you guys. It's a form of the truth, but with no power, because it never links it back to your inner body. It never links it back to your inner body, which is the final proof. And so people are given over into the strong delusion, which is what Susan says in the chat here. They're not seeking the truth. They want to feel good, look good, and show off, basically, is the three things that people do in this life because they've been brainwashed. So that about covers it, unless there's other things you guys want me to cover. I will tell you that in decoding the matrix, we also mathematically look at the calendars, because these people use three different calendars: the Julian, the Gregorian, and the Roman calendars. They do a lot of things in threes. This is a hallmark of the devil, the trident, the pitchfork. This is what he does. It's always a three-pronged approach to deception. He kills in threes in Hollywood, and he uses the three calendars. All of these things happen like that. And so that's where we're at, you guys. So now what we have to do is help others understand this ultimate truth, point them back to the one way out, because it's now been proven. There is one God. He knew the beginning from the end. He designed us with the truth inside of us, just like any architect would do. Any architect would do the same thing. Design the truth inside of their creation. Architects do it all the time. In fact, Satan's version of his architects do it. I'll do a quick, let's see here. I'll do a quick thing on Google Earth and show you how this spiritual realm is manifesting in some of the works of the architects, okay? This is nuts. Let's do this. Show you guys this here. Hopefully we're not on here too long. Slide all these up. Okay, there's an architect at the Milwaukee Art Museum. His name is Santiago Calatrava. And he put together a let's see here, let's put Milwaukee Art Museum. He put together a sculpture, or I'm sorry, a work of architecture called, this is called I think it's called the Quadratio. This is it. It's 66 meters. This is it. It's aligned at 266 degrees. There's a reason for that. And in looking at, let's pull this down here, the number of wires, there's 9, 9, and 9. That's 6, 6, and 6. So I just demonstrated to you 66 and 666 synchronicities with this building that opened 33 days after 9/11 in 2001. He then opened the World Trade Center Path Hub. It opened on 11/3 was when I think it opened earlier, but it actually officially began operations on 11/3, which is 11 times 3 is 33. This work of art, or this sculpture, looks exactly like the other one, tying the two in together. Let's go here. This is it. Oh, look, they're not. Okay, here you go. There you see the same wand with the 666 wires on it. That's the Freedom Tower splashing through the same architecture of the wings, but this is actually a wave. It's water, represents water, splashing through. And this was years later. Now, what does that mean? Well, this is an architect of fate, I call him. I have other feelings about this architect, but we'll leave it at that, because this is, again, something that you guys are going to share with friends and family to help understand the kind of work that we do here, okay? And this same design in Milwaukee points back to pre-9/11. Why? Because his very first work in America was at this Milwaukee Art Museum. It was, I'll say that again, his very first work in America was at this Milwaukee Art Museum. The same design, the 666, the same World Trade Freedom Tower, before the World Trade Center Freedom Tower was ever built. We see this wand-like analogy splitting the water. Splitting the water. This is the Freedom Tower here, the 666 splitting the water, just like in New York. They knew the plan all along. This opened in 2001, 33 days after 9/11. They knew the plan. What else can I show you about this? I can tell you that this man also knew about the Greek Orthodox Church fire. Now, what I'm showing you are spiritual manifestations, whether these people know it or not, of the evil, overarching hand of the devil who runs this reality. This was his very first work in America, and his most recent opened work is this Path Center Hub, tying the two together. New York, 9/11. I hope you guys are understanding this. I hope I'm being clear about this. There's the wand piercing the wave. Whoa, what happened there? Exit street view. And this is what's going on. See, this is what happens when these things happen. Okay, so and you know, for those of you that are watching this and you're trying to take all this in, go back and please listen to my words again, because this is not something that I take lightly or that I'm just winging or making up. Okay. Now, how did this architect know? that 9/11 would happen? I don't know that answer. What I know is that I'm seeing the spiritual manifestation of this reality in which thousands of people died, tens of thousands, wars were fought, freedoms were lost. There's the wand piercing. I wonder why this view doesn't have the actual wings. But anyway, the wings are here. There's the wand, 666 wand piercing. There you go. Now, okay, coincidence? I don't think so. Let's show you what else. This very same architect that built both these buildings, Calatrava, is also working on the Greek Orthodox Church at ground zero. This is the Greek Orthodox Church. I did an overlay here. The church extends back. This is the edge of the footprint right here. This is the edge of the footprint. This is like the parking lot. I think there's parking underneath. This is the church. Here it is there. Here's the edge that you're looking at. Let's turn this on. There's the edge, the edge. So I drew a line from the edge, which happens to go exactly through the footprint of the World Trade Center, the former Twin Towers, which, by the way, have an alignment of 119 degrees, proving that they knew that they would be, this is the mirror of 9/11. They knew they would take them down from the beginning, and they thought no one would ever know to check the compass heading of the footprint of the World Trade Center unless you have the Holy Spirit in you and spiritual eyes to see these things. Now, what's this red line that I just drew? The red line that's here that goes to the corner of this Greek church that began construction, as you can see, already long before the St. Sava church fire. Long before the St. Sava church fire, but yet you see it aligns perfectly with the roof line of the church to the footprint of the new Greek Orthodox Church. This church burned on May 1st, a high holy day of satanic sacrifice for the Illuminati. It also happened to be the day of the Holy Fire, celebrated by the Greek Orthodox Church every year on Easter, which is the day this happened. Check all the facts. You can't make this up. The roof line points to where this architect had already begun construction long ago, began construction, drew the plans. And what I'm demonstrating to you is lateral thinking. It is a gift of the Holy Spirit to look across different platforms and places and things and put the whole thing together. That's what we do here. Here's the footprint of the Greek church in construction. It's actually further along. This is an older, this is dated 2015, so it might even be close to opening at this point. But the church that burned this year. So some kind of sacrifice? I don't know. I don't know, you guys. I'm just showing you the facts. And isn't it interesting that it goes right through the center of the cube of this here? Now, I'm going to keep this video short because this is something you'll need to share with family and friends so that they know that you're not crazy and that they know that this information is real. And if they deny it at this point, God help them. Some need to see this, some don't. Some have faith alone without having to see this. But there will come a day where all of our faith will be tested. And you will need to know these things to have your faith be strengthened. Again, this is just grazing the surface of truth. Is there anything else you guys want me to cover that will help people understand? All right, I'm gonna look in the chat here. You guys just pop in the chat, whatever you think. I'm gonna give some shout outs. Non-care, Sharon, Ray, K Small, thanks for coming in. What she says, what the Sabbath is. The Sabbath is based off of the moon. We have a solar calendar. The Julian calendar is a solar calendar. So the Sabbath is off. That was done on purpose. That's why the Julian calendar was implemented. I'm sorry, the Gregorian calendar was implemented because it was the abomination, because the fourth commandment says, remember the Sabbath day. So when they changed the calendar, they were basically getting us to forget the Sabbath day. Okay. So that's what happened with that. They call the Enochian calendar that you can find that actually gives the true Sabbath day each week. I Do All, Ray Dutton, Channel Life Path TV, Robert, St. Columbo, Adopt Don't Shop. Susan, Robert. Now, as many of you know, the skeptics might say, well, who is this guy? Like, oh, he probably wants something, or he's probably asking for money, or he's going to start a cult. Okay, I can put to rest all of those accusations. Okay, been on YouTube a very long time, and I've shown you guys, I've been completely transparent with my life, with my income. I've never asked you guys for donations, money. Never told you guys to pick up weapons and kill people. This is all about love and truth. I don't get rich on YouTube. It's not what this is about. So that puts all of that to rest. Okay? This is about nothing else other than helping people come out of the matrix. So what is the point of all this? The point is, we are fishers of men. You show them the truth, just like Jesus said. Fishers of men. You show them the truth, and it helps them to come out of the beast. What is the beast? The beast is wandering after popularity, riches, showing off, investing in this life versus the spiritual, heavenly, eternal life. It is being consumed by the devil's toys. These are the things that we are trying to help people to come out of. And once you come out of those things, you will be happy because you will be living in God's kingdom. You will start to see glimpses of heaven, about how heaven's supposed to be. You'll see it all around you. You'll see it in animals. You'll see it in a magic moment with your children. You will see it in many, many different ways. You'll see it through synchronicities that help you to appreciate and have hope. Someone came to my channel just today, said that a friend who had committed suicide, who was a very close friend of his life, that their birthdays were mirrors of one another. And I thought, wow, that was God reaching out to you and giving you a hug to let you know that he's there. Maybe he sent that friend to you. Maybe the friend was an angel. Who knows? But what it does is once you see these synchronicities, it builds your faith. You begin to see the eyes of good and evil. You begin to see the take and the give, the reactions, the opposite reactions and actions. You begin to see all these things, and then the world opens up, and you begin to see the kingdom of heaven just behind the stars. And that's the best way I can describe it, you guys. We're going to need this faith. We're going to need it because tough times are coming. This isn't a fear-mongering channel. This is a channel of pulling the blanket off the cockroaches so they scatter and run away. And my dream one day, if God willing, this channel is recognized by the world and everyone can see the work of God here. Everyone can see it, and then it will cause the plans of the enemy to change. And maybe we can affect the history of mankind. That's my dream. Now, some people have taken this work and helped to spread the truth. One of those people is D13 Watchman. I don't know this individual. I've reached out to him to see if he wants to collaborate. His work is a mirror of ours, but he has been able to gain much, much more traction than this channel has. And our work now has gone more mainstream. One of his videos has 500,000 views. Now, in this realm, someone might be jealous and might be mad that he used all of our work and, oh, I own that and this is mine and please give me a shot. No, truth is free. I'm humbled that he took the work that we did and used it. I'm humbled. Truth is free. It doesn't belong to anybody. The more people that see it, the better. God takes care of everything else. I have a specific skill set. Much of that is connecting with you guys and loving you. I have some technical skills, but I have reached my limit. And maybe it's time for others to pick up the cross, to pick up their skill set and move the work forward. And D13 Watchman is good at doing that. He somehow coalesced all the information that took us 4 years to gather, and he put it all into 1 or 2 videos. And he has the charisma and the communication styles as well as editing skills, some of the things that I might not be as good at, so that it could reach more people. And it resonated and it was shared and people are seeing the truth. That is amazing. Yeah, I'm watching the chat. In case you're Ann Hedonia asked if I'm watching the chat. James 777. Sharon's looks like she's got to leave. Marianne. Can you check? Let's see. You have a beautiful heart. Oh, thanks, Linda. Much love. True humility is, I get beat up a lot because I show how my life was imprinted with the part of the truth. And people think that I'm trying to brag. No, I'm just part of the puzzle. And each and every one of your lives fits into this matrix as well. I've looked at a lot of your birthdays and given you your numbers, and you've seen how that's fit into your children's number and your husband's number. And then your faith is built because you're like, wow, like God had all this figured out my whole life. And so I'm not anyone special just because I was born on the 88th day of the year. I'm simply a piece of the puzzle. Any one of you can pick up your cross and see how you fit into this and become like a YouTube channel and spread truth or start something in your community. So that's what's going on, you guys. This is when I say this happened on my birthday in this movie or my name showed up, it's not to brag. I get a lot of thumbs down on those videos. I think it's trolls trying to discredit me or trying to discourage me, but I feel it is my duty to call out my own life synchronicities. Okay. So I do all says never heard of Calatrava. He is an architect who you must have missed a couple of my videos. I do all. He's an architect who designed those 2 buildings that I just showed in the Google Earth portion of this broadcast. The first one being 33 days after 9/11 happened in 2001, and this most recent one that opened being at Ground Zero. So ABBA is the same both ways. Yes, the going in and coming out, says Chiron. Much love, adopt, don't shop. St. Columbo. Ricardino. Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm like on a Holy Spirit high. It's just amazing all the work that's happened on this channel. I also want people to know who come across this video, this isn't something that I myself did. This has been all of us putting this puzzle pieces together on a giant mosaic. And finally, discovering the truth. It's been a process of all of us together. And even if I had one subscriber, I would go through the same process to find the truth. So that's something else you can tell somebody. This isn't one crazy guy just making stuff up. This is all of us. Tens of thousands of you have contributed to this channel, working together. And so therefore that's where we're at with that. A lot of love on this channel. A lot of love on this channel. Linda Garden, Gary Baxter, Mr. Two Scoops, K Small, Mathis. Yeah, Mathis says I'm going to the Matrix job. And look, we're in the Matrix. We're stuck here. If you can find a way out, you'll reap blessings. If you can't, you got to do the best you can. Okay. Robert says, Casey, can you decode one of your guests? I suppose. I rarely have guests on anymore. Ray says, when the spirit makes you cry, God is happy. Pure love. Yes, absolutely. Hey, Gerard J. Holzman. Ricardo, we're in the Matrix. Yes. Casey, speak on the pyramid measures relation to our world universe model. Says, I do all pyramid measurements. Well, okay, and we're going to get into the deep esoteric here because where was it here? Oh shoot, 660. Okay, here it is. 216 constant. Let's pull this up. I believe now this is going to go deep esoteric. So for those of you that came here to get a synopsis of the work on this channel, you might want to end at this time. For those of you that are intrigued by what we just covered and want to look further into this, stay tuned because we're going to get into the deep esoteric. We're going to get into the 216 constant. I believe. Now, here's the thing. Our president, Obama, was born on the 216th day of the year. And 6 times 6 times 6 is 216. Now I'm going to let this video play. We're going to look at what the 216 constant is. Again, this is a mathematical manifestation of the matrix. But I believe that this may be the lie, the ball earth lie. Now, this is where it gets esoteric because how could you question that the earth is round or flat or whatever? Early in this broadcast, I told you how our world is the inner eye and the stars were fixed in the firmament, in the borders or the walls of our eye, just as the Bible says. And that our earth is the lens inside your eye that sits at the bottom. If you were to rotate the eye, imagine the eye flipped in. Now, I do all mention the pyramids and the measurements. I haven't gotten to the actual measurements of the pyramids, but I can tell you that the location of the pyramids reveals something. And we'll get to that. This is a video game called 2160. I believe they know or knew about the ball earth and the lie. If it is in fact a lie, the earth is 21,600. What they tell us, it is 21,600. This is the 216 constant, is a constant number that keeps coming up. 21,600 nautical miles in circumference at the equator. But it's also 21,600 miles around. I don't know if I'm being clear on this. Let's pull this up. Here it is. We've got 21,600 miles here. Let's let this play through. At the equator, 21,600 nautical miles. But then when you look at real miles, it goes through at the pyramids here in this red line. This is 24,600 miles. Now, did I get that right? Hold on. Sorry. It's a little confusing, you guys. Yes. 21,600 miles goes through where the pyramids are. So we have two. We have 21,600 miles at the pyramids. We have 21,000 nautical miles at the equator. Now watch this. Now I believe this is a lie. I think this is the ball earth lie, because 216 is 6 times 6 times 6. Why would God create the earth with 666 in it? Now, the speed of light is 299,792,458 meters per second, which has the exact same digits, numerical digits, as the north latitude of the Great Pyramid. How can that be? How did the ancient Egyptians know the speed of light? Or is the speed of light a lie too? You see, the whole matrix begins to break down when you start looking at some of these numerical synchronicities that seem impossible. The odds of them getting the exact 9 digits of the speed of light when the pyramids were built, which some argue was 12,000 years ago, how would they know how fast light travels? They did not have the instrumentation, nothing. This goes on. Here's the regular miles. They go right through the location of the pyramids. So again, 12,000 years ago, the pyramids were built. How did they know, when none of the world had been discovered, how many miles there were to build the pyramids at exactly this location? How did they know unless they were deceiving us? No one had traveled around the world when the pyramids were built, at least we're told. So again, more proof. Hopefully that addressed what I do always wanting. Back in the chat. Antonio says 666 has nothing to do with evil. It only becomes evil when you hide it. Well, God says 666 is the mark of the beast, which is part of the prison of this realm. So I don't know, you can do what you want with that. Let's see, what else do we have here? I'm making Interstars UK right now on website and playlists on channel and new channel, screen layout, watch this space. Thanks to Channel Life Path TV. Chas is in the house. Let's look through here. Please talk about the young boy who found the scrolls. Oh, young boy found the scrolls, huh? Huh. Let's look that up. We're just freestyling here, you guys. Boy who found Dead Sea Scrolls. History of the Dead Sea Scrolls. 2 Bedouin who claimed to have been the first to find Cave 1, a young shepherd boy of the Tamara tribe, discovered the Dead Sea Scrolls. Dead Sea Scrolls, young shepherd boy. Gosh, kind of sounds like Jesus, doesn't it? Let's put his name in. Yeah, they don't have his name. Who's the Tamira tribe? Let's see what that is. Go to Wikipedia. Qumran Caves. He's a Bedouin boy. Looks like they're not going to tell us what that is. All right. Let's see here. All right. Let's get back in the chat. We're going to wrap this up in about 5 or 10 minutes, you guys. Let's see here. Anadonia says 322, Genesis 322. Is that the one that talks about enmity between the two seeds? And now this goes way deep, and I'll let those who are intrigued enough to subscribe to this channel and see more truth, kind of make discoveries about this channel and the work that we do, rather than kind of go into a lot of detail here, because the purpose of this video is to help kind of do a Cliff Notes version of the kind of stuff that we cover on this channel. All right. Yeah, we'll get this posted to Malav Cocktail. It'll post in about 30 minutes. Glad you could catch the show. Let's see here. Now, the elite know these truths. They know all this. They'll never let us know, because if they let us know, then Rebel Wilson dropped the mic. See that? I heard someone mention that before. Let's look at Rebel Wilson. If they let us know, then we will believe in Christ, plain and simple. See, she was born in 1980, March 2nd. I guess she dropped the mic. There's a whole rabbit hole of the mic that we covered. Again, probably too heavy for people that are just coming onto this video. But if you're curious, go into, just type in mic, enter the stars. It's probably a good thing for me to cover right now. If you're looking for any of my work, just type in enter the 5T4Z space and put in whatever subject, put in a couple keywords of the subject that you're looking for. And that will give you information that you need to research whatever topics you might be curious about. Running the numbers on this woman who dropped the mic, Rebel Wilson. Not really seeing anything pop out here, you guys. She dropped the mic as well. All right. Let's close this. Close this. Back in here. Yeah, we've all been forced to take these chips in our ATM credit cards. Which is like a little chip in there. Wow. That's coming. Oh, I'm going to be on Kay Small's channel tomorrow at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you guys want to go subscribe to her channel, I'll be on there. I'm not sure what the subject's going to be. We're just going to sit and chat, I guess, and hang out over there. I'm also working on a collaboration with D13 Watchmen, see if we can get on together and just kind of go over some of the work. And what else? Guess Real Talk Live on Friday is going to be on my channel. You guys want to put that in your phone reminder or calendar. Have Dabu over here. Oh, we're not calling it Real Talk Live anymore. We're going to call it Underground World News. I guess that Real Talk was something. We had a Real Talk a while back. I can't remember if it was right around the time Dabu did his. He called his Real Talk Live. Mine was just Real Talk with Enter the Stars. So I don't know. Maybe we'll pick that back up. I don't know. Susie says, Casey, how do you know when to leave a number as 2 digits and not being it to single digits? Oh, you're talking about with alphanumeric, like reading license plates and things in movies. You know, I do it both ways, and whatever manifests out of it is what I go with. Make no mistake, you guys, these people hide things alphanumerically in the films. They do it on purpose. Let me give you one example so you know I'm not crazy. You know I'm not reading license plates when I shouldn't be in movies trying to find things that aren't there. Okay? I'm going to show you a very clear example. Just did a decode on a movie. Let's find in the video manager here. Let's see, here it is here. It's called The Darkness with Kevin Bacon. And in this thumbnail, if you were to click on this, It says Frank's Fresh Foods. Now, this movie is all about the serpent and the devil and all this stuff, right? And demons coming through a portal. Well, FFF, Frank's Fresh Foods, it's a grocery store. There is no such thing as Frank Fresh Foods. They CGI'd Frank's Fresh Foods on the front of this grocery store to represent FFF, which F alphanumerically is 6666. And it's not out of place. It's a devil movie. The problem I have with this is, why not go use a regular grocery store with a regular moniker? Why CGI a moniker on the front of this store and then call everyone crazy who sees these movies and sees these hidden numbers? Now, why does it even matter that they're hiding numbers in movies, on license plates, in store monikers and all this? Why does it matter? Because they foreshadowed mass dates of sacrifice in these hidden numbers before they happened. 9/11, the tsunami in Asia, Southeast Asia, Fukushima. All of these dates were hidden in films before they happened, in the exact same method that they hid 666 on this store moniker in the film The Darkness. Do you see now? And for some reason, we've been given eyes to see this, because God says that nothing that was hidden will remain hidden. All will be revealed in the last days. So that's what we're doing now, revealing all of their sorcery. This is sorcery, you guys. Make no mistake. Devil rules this world, commits mass sacrifice, especially to those who wander after him, who want to go live in the big city, who want to, have money, riches, and show off and have fancy clothes, drive beautiful $200,000 cars. You're walking right into the devil's den. Those are not of the things of God. Jesus rejected all that. He rejected riches. He rejected power and control over people. So when you wander after that, you fall into the devil's trap, plain and simple. And these movies show the future plans of sacrifice. And we go and watch these movies and wander after these actors and actresses. We want to be like them. And we want to get mad when people say they're in the Illuminati. Don't pick on Will Smith. Don't pick on Prince. Don't pick on these people, right? Because they are deceived. You see, plain and simple. Now, I have not only found these foreshadowings of these mass states of sacrifice in one film, I found them in 5, 10, 20, 100, 1,000. These are the number of videos I have on this channel. 2,093 videos. Now, some of these are re-uploads. Not all of them are film decodes, but I can guarantee you there's at least 200 to 300 films out of these videos. If you have a film that you want to find out what the film was really talking about, go in the search bar in YouTube, type in Enter the 5T4Z space in the title of the film and see if I decoded it. And chances are maybe I did decode it. So there you go. All right, guys, back in the chat, and I'm going to round this out. I guess I've been on here a while. Can you... Shannon Life Path says, Casey, can I carry Real Talk on with some of my friends? General has a Real Talk Facebook page with 8,000 followers. Yeah, you can do whatever you want, brother. I think that's maybe one of the reasons why Dabu wanted to kind of drop the name Real Talk. I think he was saying that other people had used it. I know I was using Real Talk a long time ago. I think he just wants to start fresh and have kind of a new association that is more associated with his channel, and which is like Underground World News. But you're free to do whatever you like, my friend. Everything's free. Truth is free. Okay. All right. Looking in the chat here, Buddha Girl, Jimmy, Righteous Hawk. Much love to you guys. Mr. Two Scoops. Awesome. Glad you guys could make it. This is the video that you're going to want to share with family and friends. And if they don't get it after this video, pretty much what I tell people is live your life. Live your life with love. You be what you want other people to be. You do that. And if you do you, which is love and emanate in copying Christ's life, try to be like him, people will want to be like you. Either they will or they won't. And even if they don't, and they want to continue to stab themselves all over their body with many pains, which is what the Bible says we do when we seek after riches and when we live in Satan's world, then there's nothing you can do. Your life will get better, though, when you follow Christ. It will. It's guaranteed. Put the armor of God on. Have no fear in your life about anything, because even if this physical body is taken, you will have eternity. But you lose eternity if you follow after the beast. You will lose your eternity. Much love to Tori, St. Columbo. Thank you. So this is what we do. We put one foot in front of the other, you guys. I want to give a shout out to all of you that are suffering in pain today. Any kind of pain, fibromyalgia, back pain, addictions that you may have that you cannot cut loose from, locked in these cycles of pain through the things we put in our body or the choices we've made in our life. You can escape that. Just believe, let Jesus cleanse your body. It may take months. It could take a year before you feel normal again. Break free from the bondage of the beast. You know, I was watching I think it was Truth or Girls had uploaded a video about this country. I can't remember. I think it was either Canada. I think it was Canada. And like the prime minister, like now is cracking down on these marijuana dispensaries and all this. And now they're raiding them and taking away people's rights about pot. You guys, I told you this was a setup from the beginning. I told you this was a setup from the beginning. I don't know how many videos I said, as soon as they get it, they're going to basically make it so that everyone gets on it. It becomes a generational dependence. Mothers and fathers passing it down to their children, passing it down to their children. And once they get everyone dependent on it, because it is a dependence, a lot of people don't just stop smoking pot. They're going to smoke pot for life. It becomes part of the coping mechanism, just as much as drinking a cup of coffee becomes part of a person's life. They're not addicted to it, but they need that cup of coffee to get going. I'm one of those people. Then I saw this coming as clear as the hand in front of my face. As soon as they got all these people generationally onto these things, now they drop the hand of control. And guess what? When they control it, they control you. Plain and simple. When they control it, they control you. Simple, guys. And now they're going to start controlling it, and they're going to control all of you. This is when things like a chip implanted inside of you doesn't seem like such a big deal if they're going to give you your weekly supply of pot for free. Or if they're going to give you an EBT card so you can buy food, so that then you can then go and have extra money to go buy pot. You see, this isn't a judgment. This is not a judgment. We're not to judge each other based on what we put in our bodies, eat or drink. This is another biblical principle. I'm just speaking to you the truth, and it's exactly what's happening in Canada. They're implanting, they are now controlling it. They did a 180-degree turn. First, everyone go smoke pot. Hey, it's great. Pretty soon it's going to be legal. We're not going to bust you. People smoking pot has doubled in the last 10 years. Doubled. Some places, 50% of people smoke weed, especially here in California. Almost everybody smokes pot here. So that's the truth, you guys. And it's, again, it's not a judgment. Ray, I understand. Look, I love you just as much as I love everybody else. I'm simply speaking to you the truth. And there's going to come a day where you're going to need to be prepared. You're not going to be able to get access to this, and you're going to want it. And you need to do a gut check in your heart and say, What will I do for this? Do I want to be under a system of control or do I not? Plain and simple. So that's that. Cigarette smoking is probably another form that they try to control us. It's going to increase in cost and taxes if you can all not do it or find a way to do it cheap. I don't think that, cigarette smoking does cause cancer over the long term for some people that are genetically disposed to it. Okay. As many of you know, there's a lot of people that smoke that never get cancer or that never get COPD. And in moderation, heck, it might be okay. Might help with stress. My point here is to talk about the control. Anything they can get as many people on as possible and then control it through taxes, and then you then sell out when you feel like you need whatever it is they're offering. Alcohol, cigarettes. Now, if in your mind, you know that if you wanted to, you could just stop and not need those things and not be influenced by the control of it, then you're on one page. But if you're sold out to it and you know you need it, it's going to create a conflict within you. Plain and simple. You're going to have to choose one day. So, yeah, so this, I understand it's natural. I'm talking about the control. They know they can control it. Now, and I'm going to throw this out there. And I've discussed with many of you. The Book of Enoch, as I told you, was found in the Qumran caves with the Dead Sea Scrolls. And there are a lot of things that are natural that we shouldn't put on our body. Poison oak. If you walked up on a poison oak plant and go, that's such a beautiful plant, I'm going to make a lotion out of that and put it on my skin. Is it necessarily good for you? No. We do have receptors in our brain, cannabinoid receptors, but that's for natural levels of cannabinoid in your body, not excess levels. I also want to point out that in the Book of Enoch, it says the fallen angels taught man to sin against reptiles, birds, and plants. What plants did they sin against? And what did they do to those plants? My guess is they did something to the plants to enact a mechanism of control over us. The same way they showed women how to shadow the eyes. This is all in the Book of Enoch. They showed them how to put makeup on and earrings and all these things. Why is cannabis Cain and Abel? Why is that? You got to ask yourself these things. This is called lateral thinking. They hide the truth in plain sight. They're required to show us the truth. So if you want to believe it's natural, believe there's nothing wrong with it, and you can put it in your body and it's actually helping you, you have the right to believe that. I'm not going to try to talk you out of that. I'm simply presenting to you what the Bible and extra biblical texts speak about. Again, this isn't a judgment. Okay, so now let's go on. Let's look in the chat here. Let's see here. Yeah, there's probably a little bit of a lag, you guys. Apologies for that. It's just the nature of the hangout. I'm in here. Interstars, what do you think about World Youth Day 2016 in Poland? I have not covered that yet. World Youth Day in Poland. Not sure. Dandruff. Brian Burke. Amen. All right. Yeah, Satan corrupts and counterfeits everything that God does and creates. And let me give you an example of how the fallen angels sinned against the reptiles. We're told that the dinosaurs lived millions and millions of years ago. Do you think there's a reason why we're told that? When the history of Earth is only 6,000 years old, we're told that because they don't want us to know that the fallen angels were the one that genetically modified these super huge creatures as food. and to have dominion over man. They were destroyed in the flood, you guys. They're not millions and millions of years old. They're thousands of years old. This is why they're almost able to extract DNA from some of these dinosaur eggs. You think DNA would have survived? Actually living tissue from dinosaurs would have survived millions and millions of years? Of course not. It's a lie. They have to say they're millions of years old because they don't want you to know that the fallen angels genetically modified serpents and reptiles into large dinosaurs. They don't want you to know that. So there you go. There's some more truth. And if they could modify dinosaurs, what makes you think that they could stop them from modifying a plant, which then people take in? And of course, they're going to offer some healing properties. Okay? Just like the pharmacia, the pharmaceuticals of today, offer some benefits. Maybe even curing cancer. Who knows? That would be the perfect abomination to God. To cure something that God can't cure. And this is better, and God's not looking out for you. He's going to let you get cancer, but this plant's going to help you. Or whatever they come up with. So, what else do we have in here? Yep, every dinosaur bone is generally found at the same depth. Thanks, Gary. Gary's awake, which means that there was a flood, and they were all settled down in this certain elevation. And you're absolutely right. Adopt Don't Shop says they had way more technology back in Noah's day than we have now, but they hide it, teach us that they were primitive. Exactly. The Ark of the Covenant was one such technological device. Let's see here. Looking through the chat here. All right, guys, I'm probably going to get off of here. I love you guys. Hopefully this didn't go on too long, and you can get this out to your friends and family. And I hope this helps. Hope I covered the things you wanted me to cover. And we'll move on from here, you guys. I'm going to be on with Kay Small today, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Go check out her channel. Subscribe over there, and you'll be able to see that hangout. Take care and be safe, you guys.